competition. Unload coming to the 16th pole, well ahead at 9-2. Eric Asmussen for his father, Steve Asmussen, aboard. It's Unload in a rump. The battles for second. Italian Symphony got it over Beyond Best. Patton's Tizzy faded to fourth.
Round two of our coverage. Good to have you with us on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. Live look at Hot Springs, Arkansas. And Oaklawn Park will bring you race 9, their feature race on this Friday afternoon. In just a little bit, they just ran race 8. Greg Wolf, Maggie Wolfendale, good to see you on the desk.
Yeah, good to see you too. It's good to be warm as well.
You braved the elements. You are the toughest of all of us.
It was cold today. I guess it was maybe being 70s earlier this week and the abrupt change, but also the wind makes you feel that much colder. So yeah, nice and warmed up now.
We have a Derby prep coming up this weekend from Colonial. Bob Baffert back at it with butane. We'll talk about that race. We have the Whitmore out at Oaklawn. Jimmy Winkfield here in New York. We have a lot to look forward to. We'll preview all of it. And this is the feature, though, next at Oaklawn. 5.5 furlong sprint, ratings handicap with an $80,000 purse.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting combination, an interesting, condition that we see for these horses. Based upon their Equibase figures, they kind of group these horses together. You have horses that have been stakes faced in some of their last, including the 9-5 Morning Line favorite, and Can't Believe It.
Yeah, Can't Believe It, coming back for her 7-year-old debut, and she's been strong off the bench before. This is against Demi Danu. I thought several seem like they have a big shot in this race, though, don't they?
Absolutely. And Can't Believe It, she does have some speed. There's some other fast horses in here, including right to her outside in number 6, Lady Aberdeen. But she ran well. Last time out, she was a big price against better horses. She finished a respectable 4th, so I'm not totally against her in here. I think the real interesting horse could possibly be number 2, Dream Concert, who will turn back in distance and make her first start for Al Stall.
Yeah, can that one get it done, going 5.5 furlongs, cutting back in distance. Let's go out live to Hot Springs right now. And Richie Migliori and Megan Burgess.
Hey guys, yeah, we had a nice little break, couple hours up in the press box, up by the roof. It is a beautiful day here, and Maggie is the toughest one of all of us. She braves those elements, and I usually get lucky. When I'm outside, it's a little nicer. It doesn't seem like Maggie gets as lucky as I do in that respect.
She does. I've only been able to be out there when it's honestly not too cold. There was that one day, Cigar Mile day was kind of cold, but it was worth it because the racing was so good. But we've got a ratings handicap coming up in this next race, Meg, which I thought was pretty wide open. To me, I didn't want to go with any particularly short prices in this field, but there's some speed signed on. And honestly, it's been kind of a chalkier weekend. And then we had a $78 horse win earlier this card. So I feel like this could certainly be a race where it could be anyone's game.
Track does seem a little bit different today. Seems a little bit on the drier side, a little cuppier, maybe because of the steady breeze that we've had. And I think it's been helping horses close a little bit. But this is a real interesting race. I like Maggie's idea with the 2 Dream Concert. You know, normally I would look at this and say, this is a filly that usually goes further. Is this a stepping off point, a starting point? But the fact that Al Stahl's ships are here to Oaklawn makes me feel like they're coming with intention.
They are, and I think 5.5 is always a bit tough. It is sharp, but she's got some speed. She's more tactical than some of the horses. To her outside, as mentioned, I would say the number 6, Lady Aberdeen, likely controls in this group. And I think Can't Believe It, while she surely has speed, she's rateable as well. So we'll see who goes. I kind of thought the number 1, Electrifying Lady, would be interesting from the inside, getting back to her better form, because her last 2 races, I think, will make her a little bit more of a price in this field.
Well, and you got Steve Asmussen, his son Keith riding. I think Keith's really starting to ride extremely well, coming off an injury. And the Asmussen barn could not be any hotter. Guys, certainly hotter than the weather in New York.
Yeah, that team, other son, I should say, Eric, teamed up with Dad to win the prior race with Unload at 9-2. So we'll see if Dad can go back-to-back with both of his sons. Here's what's ahead. Our race coming up, remaining on the program, presented by Claiborne Farm. That ratings handicap we just touched on, 5.5 furlong sprint. So you would, as we talked about all this speed in here, it's going to be fast and furious up front. Can't believe, especially coming in fresh. Could be pretty quick out of the gate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And, you know, she does, I would say Lady Aberdeen has, the faster, slightly time form US, speed rating. But I thought that, Can't Believe It, she should have some company up front. And as Meg was saying, it could set things up. I was looking at her horse, Electrifying Lady, and it does feel as though that when the Asmussen sons are aboard, she does run her better races. So reunited with them, maybe she could be the one that sits just off of it and pounces.
We have that coming up. We are 24 minutes to post in that ratings handicap. You can play this race, all the action we have coming up all weekend long and beyond. Ed Naira Bets, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. The offer for new customers, there it is, $200 deposit match sign-up bonus with match 200, the code to punch in at sign-up time, and you're ready to rock right there at nairabets.com. We're going to take a time out. Stakes race coming up over the weekend in Oaklawn. Their feature, Grade 3 Whitmore, named after the fan favorite, and Tejano Twist. He's been around for quite some time in Hot Springs, over $1.7 million in earnings, and as he proved last time out, he's still got it as a 7-year-old. For Chris Hartman, we'll have a preview of the Whitmore when we come back.
Whitmore comes to the 16th pole, and he's pouring it on. Whitmore, a budding sprint superstar. Look at him fly. Ivan will be second. It is Whitmore to crush the hot springs. He's a length and a half in front of Holy Boss. From the outside, Mo Candy, but Whitmore comes to the final 16, drifts out just a bit, but he's got lengths to work with. Here is Whitmore. Yes! Whitmore has the lead. Win time, trying to spring an upset. Whitmore, win time. Whitmore! Whitmore's gotta go. He's still 5 lengths behind, and Smart Spree's inside the furlong marker. Win time is alongside. Smart Spree gonna have to dig down. Now Whitmore explodes in the center of the track, and look at him fly. Whitmore has to go, and he did. Wow! Whitmore, who's trying to win this race for the 4th consecutive year, and he just ran right on by, and he's gonna run away and score. Whitmore, yes!
Here's Whitmore, here's Whitmore, here's Whitmore, here's Whitmore striding forward for the lead in the final furlong of the Breeders' Cup Sprint. What a day in the career of this 7-year-old. Whitmore and Ron Ortiz Jr. have won the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Very popular win with Whitmore taking that big one, and all he accomplished in Hot Springs. Obviously one of the most popular horses of all time in his hometown. Boy, did he love it at Oaklawn.
He really did, and he was just such a cool horse that the path that he found to success, a horse that was originally on the Derby Trail, and they reverted back to what he's shown that he did best, and that was sprint. And boy, through several seasons was he one of the best sprinters we had in the country.
He was so much fun to cover over those years. We have the Whitmore, of course, running on Saturday. Usually comes up a very strong race. We're looking forward to it as we send it back to Megan.
Yeah, I mean, just an incredible individual. $4.5 million in earnings, 9 of his 15 wins right here at Oaklawn Park, Megan. Yep. One of those horses that just brought his lunch pail and went to work every time.
And to do it, I was talking with you about this off camera. The Breeders' Cup Sprint in 2020, there were no fans. There was no crowd roaring, and for him to do what he did against the likes of Yaupon, Forense Fire, some of those really nice sprinters of that year at 18-1, it was just such a special moment. And it honestly kind of made me sad because you remember that the times were a bit different back in 2020 with COVID and how it affected racing. Luckily, we were still able to run that year, but that's kind of where he ended his career. I should say that was his last victory before going on to a few more starts. But what a horse, what a champion.
What a horse, and Ron Moquette, his wife Laura, still taking care of Whitmore. He's out at their farm, and just always a character, an individual. But this is a really good field that we've got lined up here, and we got a horse that is, to me, like Whitmore light in Tejano Twist, right?
He is, to me, I called him when I was doing my handicapping thing on this race, he's a shooting star. He is a closer that it just takes the right setup for him. He makes one run and he comes from behind. He needs the perfect pace. He kind of needs the perfect situation as we take a look at his race the last time out, where he was able to actually kind of get the better of a quality field. He's always been in form. He always shows up. The question is, he's not exactly the one that always shows up in the winner's circle. You'll see Booth, the pace setter, the #1, kind of tiring off of the bench, who's a very, graded stakes winning sprinter, and Tejano Twist just rolling there with a perfectly timed ride by Flavian Pratmig. I thought this was impressive, but again, he doesn't win very often.
Well, no, I won't say he doesn't win very often, but he does have more seconds than wins, right? So 11 wins, 13 seconds. I thought this was kind of an indication of a return to form for him. His King Cotton was good, his allowance race before that. He is a 7-year-old, so maybe he needed a few starts to kind of round into his best form. I do think he's going to get enough pace to kind of help his late run here, don't you?
I do. I always have my qualms with if he's going to get just there in time, especially in these kinds of stakes efforts. I think you got to bet him in a multi-race sequence, but I always I have my ups and downs when it comes to wanting to bet Tejano Twist, knowing, just what an incredible racehorse he is and how he does. He shows up every time.
And I like closing sprinters. They're exciting. I used to like to ride them. The horse that give you that punch, that 1/4 of a mile big kick. Who would you ultimately? I know we're not covering the race of tomorrow, but who do you like so far then?
I really like Bourbon Bash. He was away for 2 years before coming back and just running excellent in the Commodore. And last time out, I just thought he was ridden aggressively in a way that maybe wasn't suited to his style. I think he's more of a tactical sort. He's got some pace, and coming off of a 2-year layoff to then run that big figure, I give him some grace to kind of get back into a rhythm, and I thought he was really interesting. I just think he's going to get a better trip, hopefully not having to duel up front and let the other speeds go.
Well, another horse that is very kind of adaptable to situations is the 3-horse Tough Catch, who can have speed, but also has rallied from off the pace at times, guys.
Yeah, Tough Catch looks like he's a very tough customer and sort of on the improve coming around now for Dallas Stewart.
Yeah, he's kind of the up-and-comer of this group, Tough Catch. Now, I do think he ultimately does get a bit of a class test here, Greg, as he is second off a layoff. He came back for his 4-year-old debut, winning quite nicely, as we'll check out here. And he just kept going. I mean, he took pressure the whole way, and he was able to, kind of shake off everybody in the end. But I think what he's dealing with tomorrow in the Whitmore are a different class of horse than what he's been able to beat in the past.
He's sort of the young gun in this group,
Sure.
the only 4-year-old in this field. The Rivet, Tahano Twist, Bourbon Bash, they've been around for a while. But yeah, we'll see. He's definitely got to step his game up a little bit. I mean, I think he's good enough talent-wise, but this will be a class test, no question.
And look, he keeps getting faster and faster. Again, another horse that they briefly tried to stretch out. They went right back to sprinting, and he has rewarded them. And also with patience, too, he's rewarded them. They've given the time when he's needed the time. But, I think when I saw Tahano Twist for that win last time out, when I was out there for the Rebel, I thought, as a 7-year-old, he looked better than ever than what I've seen from him in the past. So I really feel like Richie said, he's in top form right now.
Yeah, good description of sort of Whitmore light, because he's been around for a long time and
Kinda
been
looks like him, too.
a fan favorite. Yeah, out there in Hot Springs. That's race 10 tomorrow, 6:21 Eastern time. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. We still have the feature on this Friday card. When we come back, this ratings handicap and that 5-horse, your current favorite, can't believe it. 7-year-old mare, she is quick. Hasn't raced since December 21st. Does she still have it? 4-time winner for Jimmy DeVito. Ramon Vasquez rides. Well, the post parade when we come back.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Look at these two juveniles going at it, and it is Forte.
It is Forte in front. Forte on to victory here in the Grade 1 hopeful.
The two of them coming down to the wire. Forte on the outside, and Forte to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Forte starts to gather in the top horses. This is going to be very close, but the champion prevails. Forte wins.
Get ready for the biggest races from the Sunshine State. Join Naira Bets handicapper Matthew DeSantis and Naira analyst Acacia Clement for Snowbirds. Picks and valuable insight for upcoming warm weather stakes races. That and more on the Naira Bets YouTube channel. The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at BelmontStakes.com.
there's nothing like being there at the race and having the horses go by and your horse is at the front of the pack. Nothing better.
We provide an inside look at the game. If people were to do this on their own, it would take years to develop the kind of relationships that we have with Hall of Fame trainers and horsemen. Here, you get to cut the line, so to speak, and you are in the thick of it at the highest levels of the game, and that's something that we really want for our partners. We want them to be dealing with high-class horses, have the chance to run in really big races, and we take care of the rest.
I look at spreading our placement of horse equine purchases as just a wise investment. They don't all work, but you're going to have ones that work because of the caliber of people at West Point that go through the horse selection vetting process. It's very thorough, super impressive.
Everybody here at West Point strives to provide a really comprehensive educational experience. We want you to be behind the velvet rope. Our partners get to know the trainers, the jockeys, obviously the horses. This is a real immersive experience to really get your feet wet and just feel like you're part of the action at the very front row.
I think it starts with the top, Terry and Debbie, ethics, this industry, having the right leader sets a tone for an organization. And they bring all that in every interaction, as does the entire West Point team.
You know, there aren't that many investments where you feel like part of a team, part of a family, but that's really true here, and that's what makes West Point Thoroughbreds so special.
Back on our Friday coverage on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. The feature on this Friday card coming up at Oaklawn, 5.5 furlong sprint for these fillies and mares 4 and up. And favoritism still with this one here, the 5 Can't Believe It. 7-year-old mare, 7-year-old debut coming up, a 4-time winner, and speed is her weapon, but she's got some speed to her outside here, and Lady Aberdeen right next door as well, the 6.
Yeah, and she's going to have to feel some pressure, you would have to think here, Greg. And Oakland is a place where they're not shy about hustling their horses to get to the front end.
I can't talk over a call to post.
You know, everybody has their thing. Everybody has their thing. It's sacred.
All right, we're going to start in a moment here with Electrifying Lady. We mentioned Steve Asmussen's son, Eric, won race 8, and son Keith will be aboard here.
Yeah, this is a mare filly, that I feel like she needs to be kept engaged to put in her best effort. Now, whether that placed her hand, given the dynamics here today with the presence of other speed horses, with that inside post, I'm not sure. But she does have some decent races in her, and I do think she's better than her last race would suggest.
Indiana, Remington, last couple of victories. Looking for her first career win here at Oaklawn.
Exactly. That's also a knock against her, is that you find that Remington Park form just generally doesn't hold as much weight as, maybe Kentucky form would.
I'll make the turn here momentarily. You went to Dream Concert, who's cutting back in distance. It's Al Stahl, very interesting. Has never tried 5.5 furlongs, but a multiple winner sprinting.
Right.
A couple of wins, including breaking the maiden at 6 furlongs, won at 6.5 furlongs as well. So ultimately, do you think it is going to be any kind of issue, or should we not be concerned?
It concerns me slightly, but looking at, her 7/8 races, no. And just what I like most about her is just the horses she's faced.
Yeah, she has kept some tough company. One more look here, Electrifying Lady for Team Asmussen. 4-year-old filly, off since early January. So here's Dream Concert, cut back in distance, moving to the Al Stahl barn.
Majestic Ooze, Positano Sunset, Claret Beret, Next Style, Irish Maxima, really good horses. The only problem is Al Stahl's stats. First off, the trainer change, 3 for 33.
Anna Karina Dallas Stewart next door.
Beaten twice by Foie Gras, who is in raging form right now. She has speed, but I don't know if she's good enough to take the pressure.
Here is Demi Denou. She's traded blows with Can't Believe It in the past.
She's had trouble getting out of the gate as of late. Looked, at least from my vantage point, pretty good on the track, though.
8-5 favorite still Can't Believe It. Went by. Here's Lady Aberdeen, Peter Miller.
Yeah, Lady Aberdeen, she's going to be applying some pressure from the outside. Wasn't quite good enough to get the job done. Beaten 2 off a little bit of a break last time.
And then one of 2 Iowa breds in this field. The other one's Demi Denou here, Delicina.
she looks incredibly overmatched, this Iowa bred, unlike Demi Danu.
Yeah, 14-1 should probably be a little bit even bigger price there. I'm struggling to see how she fits. Let's go back to Dream Concert, who's your selection in this spot. So not just the cutback you're dealing with, so you're also dealing with a very long layoff with this one.
You are, exactly. So this is a little bit, I feel like the price is right given the so-called class relief, if you will. I just feel like this might be the softest spot that she's been in such a long time. And to take 9-2 with those possible negative variables, I'm okay with. Obviously the layoff, I'm not there to look at her. She does look beautiful warming up. She has a lovely way of going. I have notes on her from way back when that she is a very good mover overall. Does she get outpaced here? Is that ultimately the biggest problem for her? Will she be able to unleash an effective closing, kick? We'll see. But I'm willing to take her at 9-2, given I just feel like the pace dynamics might play against some of the other horses.
Let's send it back to Hot Springs.
Yeah, I fully agree with Maggie. She just floats. She's got a really nice, light way of going, floating on her feet. I ultimately landed there as well on the 2 Dream Concert because I think that the main contenders all have speed, and I think they're going to hurt each other's chances, and I think this filly is going to get outfooted on a racetrack that I think has been a little bit on the drier, cuppier side that's actually been aiding horses rallying.
It has, and Dream Concert, as Maggie had mentioned, the class that she's been facing has just been much better than these, and she has every capability of getting the better of these horses. Now Stall, off of 250 to 300-day layoffs past 5 years, is 17%, with half of those runners, 12 runners, in the money. So he knows how to get them keyed up off that kind of longer layoff. We haven't seen her since Monmouth last year, where she had put in back-to-back just poor efforts. She clearly needed the time away, and she's come back and run well fresh. She came back and run decently well fresh back in 2024, but I still wonder with her if she maybe needs a start, but at the same time, you go through her form lines, and she to me, is the horse to beat off of her back form. I understand the thinking on the 5. I just don't want to take a chance on a horse at that short of price in this competitive group.
With other speed. Now, the 1 horse, Electrifying Lady, and Maggie pointed out, and I think it's very interesting, that when the Asmussen brothers, either Keith or Eric, ride this filly, she seems to run her best. And they're an integral part of the team. They get on a lot of these horses consistently, so I think they have a little bit of an inside track or an edge on other riders because they have such familiarity.
Her last win came at this 5.5 furlong distance, which I do find is a question mark for others in this field. And my big problem with her is that she's got Remington Park, Indiana form, and oftentimes it's tough to read that form when, especially some of these Asmussen runners, they'll either run off the board and beat fields at Oaklawn with that form, or they don't quite run as well. So it's very telltale. This honestly, she's a lighter framed filly. She's got some size to her. All things considering, when I last saw her in January, knowing that she could go this 5.5 furlong distance, but I like her in this spot. She's obviously draws the inside, but she's won from there before. She's got tactical speed, which I think is key, because she's going to have 2 or 3 runners to her outside dueling, and I think it could really provide her that edge late. We shall see if she's good enough. I thought 8-1. Why not?
Yeah, 8-1 I think is a very generous price for this filly. And I think she is very interesting, could sit the right kind of trip. The 4 horse, Debbie Danu, if I'm saying that properly, 7-year-old mare. I actually was thinking about going in that direction, and she is taking money. She's 9-2. Her last couple races really leave a lot to be desired, and she's not getting out of the gate. She never has gotten out of the gate well, but it feels like she's kind of taken it to another level recently.
And that gives me the indication that, especially with horses that are kind of steadily declining in form, that maybe she just is getting to that age. But she's got back races that make her competitive. I mean, she's won with an 88 Beyer speed figure here back in March of last year. So she's not impossible. And she beat the likes of Can't Believe It that day. So if she does return to flash some of that form, she's a player and she's a closer with pace. So it's Oaklawn. I love the line of thinking of taking more of a long shot play. 4-1 is a little short, though. I did think she would be closer to 10-1 that we see on her morning line.
Yeah, I agree with that. And how about the fact that she was a $4,500 purchase back in 2020 as a yearling, and now as a 7-year-old mare, she's banked over $500,000. A good horse can come from anywhere. The 5 horse, Can't Believe It, your favorite. And listen, she's consistent. She's speed. Jimmy DeVito is a horseman I have great respect for. She's also a 7-year-old mare, but at least she's still showing enthusiasm for the game.
Right, and she's been running really well. I mean, last time out, she's cut the pace on the front end. It was admirable of her. She got tired, obviously, but that was a much tougher field in the poinsettia. She makes sense. Honestly, she ran pretty well on the turf, 2-back, only losing by a neck, and she kind of has an interesting pedigree to go along with that. But she gets back to the 5.5 furlongs where she's been effective, Mig, and she's shown that she doesn't need the lead to succeed.
Yeah, I think, though, the kind of trouble for her, the problem for her is that she's got speed directly outside of her as well in Lady Aberdeen. If she was the speed furthest outside, I would say she has more of that luxury. I don't think she wants to get in a position where she's taking kickback, dirt in her face. So I would imagine Ramon Vasquez is going to try to stay in front of the 6 Lady Aberdeen, who does possess speed as well.
I think the number 3, Anna Karina, and the number 6, Lady Aberdeen, are both going to be your speedsters in this race, with Anna Karina setting pretty decent pace last time out. She's a 3-1, which she's coming out of stakes efforts as well. It's tough. What do you do with these horses that have shown they can't cut it in stakes company? Some of their allowance performances are a bit wishy-washy, and then you kind of find this unique condition, which makes it fun from a handicapping perspective to try to sort your way through different points of form, which is, to me, what made this race so tough.
And I think that's kind of what's good about this ratings handicap system that they're trying to implement. It allows a horse like a Dream Concert, who, you know, probably not going to run for a tag, to get started. I also think that Al Stahl, he has not run a horse at this meet. The fact that he's shipping that mare here kind of lends more confidence to me. And it also helps the rating system for horses that maybe need to run for a tag, but the connections don't want to lose the horse. Maybe they have a smaller stable, it's harder to replenish. Or it's a horse, especially a mare, that they want to bring home at some point and have a brood mare and, you know, have foals out of them.
And I also wonder, as these horses enter the gate, speed is deadly at 5.5 furlongs. Are we overcompensating for the pace early?
Well, one thing about it, in a lot of jurisdictions, and particularly in New York, I think riders overthink it sometimes. They read into the form too much. At Oaklawn, less of that goes on. They allow horses to use their speed. Well, we have opinions, and the horses will have the answers. Race 9, Matt Dinnerman, he'll have your call.
Into the outside, Delachina rounds out the group. We're ready to go. And we're off. Demi Danu away slowly. Can't Believe It rockets out of the gate here. Lady Aberdeen quarter horsed out of the gate to get forward position. Delachina is on the far outside. Electrifying Lady right behind them now. Dream Concert next with Anna Karina usually towards the front of the field. Today she's second to last, 4 clear of Demi Danu, the slow starter out of the gate. Lady Aberdeen flees from the pack into the far turn. Opens up 2 and steps on the gas now with 3 furlongs to go. A gap of 2 lengths. Electrifying Lady with Delachina, who's between horses. Can't Believe It gets a breather, tries to come on again while sent along. So is Anna Karina, 4 deep on the course, trying to produce a rally here. Then comes Demi Danu. She's trying to pass horses, behind horses right now at the top of the lane. And Dream Concert is at the back as they come off the turn. Lady Aberdeen down the lane is the leader here, just narrowly outside. Delachina badly. Can't Believe It is beaten. Dream Concert's coming on strongly down the center of the track. 2 runners continue to battle on the lead with Dream Concert chasing. Delachina between horses. Narrow edge now on Lady Aberdeen. Delachina, Lady Aberdeen, Delachina at 29-1 gets it under Tyler Bacon in a huge upset. The longest shot in the race. Second home, Lady Aberdeen. Dream Concert, third best today. The second longest shot in the race, 10-1. That was Electrifying Lady. Delachina.
Well, I didn't see this one coming. This horse has never run a race fast enough to be competitive here in the entirety of her career, but she got it done today, and it just one of those things. I look at her form. Usually I can find a race or some reason. I can't, but Delatina got it done. You got to give her credit.
Oh, she was just abysmally slow in some of her last races, but Tyler Bacon was aggressive with her. He did not take any punches early. He sent her, and he's very accustomed to this racetrack where this horse, when this horse was in form against Iowa breds, that's exactly her key, was to get aggressive and get forward, and that's what happened today. She certainly didn't look fast enough, but this was a big hit if you had it in this race.
Well, guys, we might have overthought it because speed kind of dominated. They ran 1-2. Good effort by Dream Concert. Just ran out of ground, and the one Electrifying Lady, maybe a little bit of traffic, a little bit unlucky, but speed prevailed.
We had thought the biggest upset of the meet was Nitrogen in these areas. It's not. It is this race is the biggest upset of the meet. It's not even close.
I mean,
how in the world?
You could make a case for Majestic Oops. As Meg and Mig just said, how can you make any case whatsoever for Delatina? It's just Oaklawn, I suppose.
Did not fit and somehow comes up with a massive upset. Iowa bred. This is a shocking outcome.
I could maybe have a case for the horse who finished second in Lady Aberdeen, but wow. And you know, Tyler Bacon, maybe that was the recipe for success with how aggressive he was. She and Lady Aberdeen, they were able to beat Can't Believe It to the lead, and they just ran 1-2 around there. You know, Dream Concert kind of made a little bit of a rally, a great ride by Christian Torres, you know, kind of given the horse that he was on. He saved ground, he cut the corner, he tipped and split horses. Just didn't have enough. 5.5 probably was the answer to the speed prevailing here.
29-1. Yeah, Can't Believe It. Actually broke incredibly sharp, was in front, and decided, look, almost consciously to take back.
Yeah.
Kind of strange. 29-1 upset winner of this feature. Delatina, the Iowa bred, 7-6-2-1. Prices when we come back.
John Gaines started this back in the 70s, had such stallions as Riverman, Sharpen Up, Bold Bitter, Leafard, Blushing Groom. I think our slogan says it best: power, passion, performance. We're looking to be a power in not only the breeding sector, but in the whole thoroughbred industry. I think passion describes our team to the best. Mr. Beck and his family have owned this farm for almost 40 years. Brian Graves has been a part of this team for almost 20 years, myself here for 3 years, as we look to continue to grow. And I think performance describes our stallion roster perfectly, both at the racetrack and in the sales ring. And obviously, Tappet was a huge feather in the cap of the farm. He's done well for the last 20 years at stud. We have McKenzie with 5 Grade 1 Stakes horses in his first crop. We have Drain the Clock and Olympiad with stellar sales results with our first crop yearlings. We were very excited this year. We brought 4 new stallions in. We had Grade 1 winner Tappet Trice, son of Tappet, another son of Tappet, Mandy Pope, homebred Charge It, Muth, son of Good Magic, only stallion retired this year in Kentucky that was a Grade 1 winner at 2 and 3, and followed it up with Preakness winner and Pennsylvania Derby winner Seize the Great. We were very excited to have a son of Arrogate. We were a big believer in that stallion. We bred to him several times. We're bringing Grade 1 winner Locked, son of Gun Runner, into the stallion roster for 2026. Grade 1 winner at 2 at Keeneland. Grade 2 winner at 3, defeating older horses in the Cigar Mile. Grade 1 winner this year at 4. Brian Graves, Anthony Beck, myself, and the rest of the team here, we look for these horses that are going to hopefully be breed shapers and trying to continue to grow the stallion roster here at Gainesway.
Our program brought to you in part by Gainesway Farm. Power, passion, performance. Feature race on this Friday card at Oaklawn. A head scratcher that you go back and pour over these past performances. It will not help you try and come up with this one. Delicina, Iowa bred, 5-year-old mare, just a shocking upset.
Yeah, I mean, her last win came against Iowa State breds, and her last 3 performances, all of which at Oaklawn, buyers of 47, 58, and 54. I'm not sure how you can make any sense of her winning here today, other than if you had a crystal ball and knew that the pace was going to hold together and Tyler Bacon was going to keep her a part of it.
I will say this, she does love 5.5 furlongs. 3
That
for
is
4
true.
at the distance, but it's not enough to
I mean, Lady
entice you
Aberdeen
to the
was
window.
1 for 1. I know. And kind of head-scratching tactics for the well-beaten favorite in Can't Believe It. We saw number 1, Electrifying Lady, have a little bit of trouble and some traffic, being hemmed down on the inside. And Dream Concert, she was just against the flow of the racetrack, having to close from off of it. 60-20. For the feature race today.
Well done if you had it. Yeah, pick 3 of over $2,500. We're going to talk some new faces in the sport. March OBS sale concluded with a record gross of just over $72 million. 443 horses sold, 7 sold for $1 million or more. That tied a record. And we were just talking off camera, a lot of excitement about these freshman sires that are out there.
Yeah, Corniche having the 3rd highest sales price of $1.35 million. Another Drain the Clock New York bred sold for $1.1 million, but there's Flight Lines, Jackie's Warriors.
There's a Jackie's Warrior win for $600,000.
Yep, Golden Pals, Early Voting, Epicenter, Life is Good. A lot of freshman sires that are going to have their first crops hitting the racetrack this year. Here is the sales topper, the $2 million Nyquist. I would say paid to have a share of Nyquist for this sale.
Yeah, he had a good showing at the sale. We'll talk about another one in a moment.
Yeah, this filly worked 9-3, Greg. I mean, she just looks very rapid, very fast. If she stays sound throughout her freshman year, I would think that she has a lot of races she could win because she just looks so precocious. She was bought for Boyd Racing. Randy and Jenny Boyd, they campaigned Tennessee Belle, who's actually their first horse to hit the racetrack. She won up in Saratoga last year, but it looks as though they're going to try to have more horses on the racetrack. They also bought the sales topper from Saratoga last year, $2.6 million Gun Runner filly.
Wow. A lot of money out there, and it seems like a lot of excitement, particularly around these freshman sires we had mentioned, but certainly Nyquist as well. Another Nyquist, hip number 88, $1.2 million. A trio of owners in there. Marquis Bloodstock, Ramiro Restrepo, though, who had a lot of success. Found Mage at a 2-year-old in training sale back in 2022 at the Fasig-Tipton Mid-Atlantic sale. This one, very excited about. Acacia Clement able to catch up with Ramiro after the purchase.
I'm here with Ramiro Restrepo, Marquis Bloodstock, signed the ticket with More Play Racing yesterday for hip number 88, a Nyquist colt over at Wavertree. Lovely colt, Ramiro. He definitely really stamped himself with some class.
No, beautiful horse. Reminded us of the sire. In a catalog like this, with the sire power that's in here, this horse stands above the rest. Not only on paper, pedigree, and then just physically, he was such a strong horse and held up so well through the process. And the Breeze show, I mean, he looks like he can just go on with it. So, really happy to get him for a good group of guys.
As you said, teaming up with More Play, had a lot of success last year. Very enthusiastic crew as well. They seem pretty excited to get him too.
I mean, look, they've mostly been focusing on pin hooking, but the horses that they've raced, they've had No More Time that won the Sam Davis and almost won the Tampa Bay Derby, and then a great year with She's So Spicy last year. So I think they've caught a little bit of the racing bug, and it's just a real organic relationship that we've had, and it's just brought us to this where we could partner up with a unique group of guys and go on and race a little bit.
And on the heels of a big weekend for Marquis as well, with the Puma winning the Tampa Bay Derby, picked up in April, but at OBS. Why is this sale appealing for horses that could potentially get on the Derby trail like that?
And there's just a large offering, big catalogs, both in March and April. A lot of the people who do the pre-training and the pin hooking are based here in Ocala, so it's their backyard, and they really present a wide variety. You have a lot of freshman sires that are quick and fast, and a lot of classic placed horses that are now established on the Stallion Trail. And just come out here and you do your due diligence, and there's a little bit for everybody.
He has had a pretty good eye. Also secured a $500,000 Corniche filly.
Yeah, exactly. No, Romero does really great work, and I really like this Nyquist colt that they bought. Worked 9 and 4, really nice, efficient stride. I know a guy that very well that was pretty high on him too. That was one of the underbidders.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Mr. Morley, no, but yeah, I'm excited for Romero, and obviously they have another horse that's well on the Derby trail with the Puma.
Yeah, you were excited about going into that Tampa Bay Derby, right?
Well, no, actually, I think that may have been Acacia.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, I don't know, possibly. But I was really excited with how he came out of it, or the result, because I thought he ran very well. Far back, wide the entire way. So I know they lowered the original buyer from a 95 to an 89, but still, I thought it was a very good effort.
Yeah. Exciting times. Big preps still remain, and now all these new sires, what are they going to produce? Horses that we love to follow and saw in action. Bob Baffert back at it. Depth, trying to add more to his Derby roster with Butane in the Virginia Derby on Saturday worth $500,000, and more importantly, Derby points.
Quality Road, proving Lane's End's tried and true stallion-making tradition. Quality Road has sired multiple Eclipse Award and Grade 1 winners, including Champions National Treasure, Corniche, Abel Tasman, and recent Grade 1 winners Hope Road and Clicquot. He's a leader of his generation. Quality Road, a stallion that stands above the rest.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away, when you want to reward yourself, when you deserve to indulge, when you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing returns with the classic racing season. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs and come join the fun.
Spine-tingling, jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring, Secretariat-like.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Thanks for being with us on our Friday coverage here on Fox Sports 2. America's Day at the Races brought to you where you can play all the action in Naira Bets, bet any track, anywhere, anytime, including a big weekend coming up. We're going to have the Grade 3 Whitmore in that sprint division on our Saturday coverage. Greg Wolf, Maggie Wolfendale here in studio. Tomorrow, Derby Trail picks back up as well with that $500,000 Virginia Derby, 50 points to the winner to get into that starting gate the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, and hopefully they have better weather than what they did yesterday. They're at Colonial Downs, but it looks like an interesting field, Greg, going forward. You know, you have some horses that have recently broke their maidens. Can they take that next step? And then Bob Baffert sending out Butane. Can he rebound after the third place finish in the Southwest?
So he'll have the inside slot. Pratt will be there for Baffert. One at first asking at 1 to 5. The excitement began. $1.15 million, son of Tiz the Law. Second, distant second, we saw it in the hopeful to Ted Noffey. Comes back as a 3-year-old, actually a 92 buyer that first start back. But then this, you have to say, this was a disappointment, wasn't it?
Greg, I really do not feel like this horse is one that wants to go further than the 7/8. I know this is essentially, it's not a cutback, but it's a cutback to a one turn. Maybe that helps him. Maybe it just, forces the issue of Flavien just using his, early tactical speed, just go from that inside post position. But there's some other horses in here, that do feel as though they have some speed, like High Camp, for instance, who's coming off the back of a maiden special weight victory from the 7/8, going to this one-turn mount of 16th. This was an interesting affair. It was like these two long shots went and preempted the pace, blew by the two favorites in here, which was High Camp and Growth Equity. And High Camp, to his, favor, took the outside route, whereas Growth Equity, he got to save more ground. So I thought this was a good effort. He's an Instagram, though. How much further does he really want to go? We'll see.
Yeah, that is the question. Will Walden, though, obviously he's created a lot of excitement, new face, relatively, and having so much success. And now, can he get a horse into that Derby starting gate? Those are two of the main players. Could someone else, though, potentially step up as we send it out to Megan for more?
Yeah, guys, a very interesting addition to this Virginia Derby, and I'm going to say right up front, I'm in the High Camp. I agree with Maggie. The question is Instagram, how far do they really want to go? But he is out of an Uncle Mo mare, and if you look at his stride, to me, it's a little more of that Uncle Mo influence. So I'm hoping that the female side of the family carries him a little bit further.
And the second dam, Summer Applause, was a grade 1 placed in the Spinster. She was a graded stakes winner routing. So this is the first foal race out of that immediate dam, but does have the back pedigree for distance. We shall see. I haven't seen this horse in person, so I couldn't really make that absolute determination on what I think what distance is his cap, but it's always the time of the year where we have to ask these 3-year-olds these kinds of questions. And honestly, it's a little bit later in the year for this question to be asked to him, incrementally stretching out. I also think he found the right field, though, Meg. This isn't an overwhelming group.
No, it's not. What do you think of Butane from the rail? I thought he ran gamely in the Southwest. I question how far he really wants to go, but what do you think?
I think he's shown me that he's a sprinter. I thought that, as Maggie has mentioned, in Saratoga, I thought he was a sprinter, especially there, seeing him in the hopeful behind the legs of Ted Noffey. I even questioned why I don't question because Bob Baffert knows his horses, but and I understand the Derby incentive, but I've always thought that this horse is better going shorter. He's got speed, and I think that that's probably his gig, but Baffert horses are going to get nailed at the windows. I think this will be your favorite in this spot.
Sure. Flavien Prat, Bob Baffert. The other thing, I'll just add in a layer to this. Only other racetrack on dirt in North America you can run a one-turn mile and eighth is Belmont Park. They run a 1-turn mile and 1/8 at Colonial. And a 2-turn mile and 1/8, they'll jump out, they'll run in the first turn, and the pace moderates. In a 1-turn mile and 1/8, they pick it up as they go down the backstretch. There were a lot of times at Belmont, you'll see they go the first quarter in 24, they go the second quarter in 22-4. I don't think that helps a horse like Butane, that I think has distance questions to begin with, because the race is going to heat up more in the middle. I like High Camp. Now, you've got Confessional, and I think you have some interest in Confessional, although he doesn't have Irad Ortiz, who unfortunately was involved in a spill yesterday at Gulfstream. I communicated with Irad today. He says he's fine. He's just very body sore. Communicated with his agent, Steve Rushing, and he is not riding. And then I reached out to Brad Cox, and they don't have a rider as of yet secured for Confessional.
I think he's potentially an interesting candidate. I know the barn's been high on him as a 3-year-old, but he just wasn't, he didn't fire last time out in the Sam F. Davis at the route question for the first time. So can he go the distance? That's going to be a question for him as well.
Okay. Guys, got an interesting Virginia Derby. Back to you.
Yeah, there's a look at the leaderboard. Incredible. I think the only graded stakes winner in that field. Not the comeback race at 3. I just want to put a line through it.
It was weird, too, watching that race, the Holy Bull. A lot of horses stayed off the rail. I don't know if the rail was bad per se. I really didn't take a deep dive into it. But he was the one on the rail throughout the running, and he just backtracked through there. I want to give him another shot as a 3-year-old.
You look at this list. Who do you get most excited about as a potential win candidate for the Derby?
Is he on there? You're going to laugh. Chief Wallaby.
No, I'm very excited about that horse.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I like him.
Bill Mott did pretty good last year.
Yeah, he did. And he's just my favorite trainer, so maybe that's why, too.
We will see you tomorrow. We're back, FS2, 1 Eastern start time. On our Saturday coverage, we're on 1 to 2:30, then 5 to 7. It was the upset of the meet, the Iowa bred, Delasina at 29 to 1 in the feature race. Tejano Twist back in action in the Whitmore on Saturday, 7-year-old. Can he do it again? Tough catch. We'll try and stop him for Dallas Stewart. Ramon Vasquez will ride, but a class test for him, no question. We'll see you on our Saturday coverage tomorrow.
Gunrunner is the sire of 16 millionaires and 12 Grade 1 winners. Last year, he sired $17 million yearlings, including the Keeneland September sale topper. He was the sire of the $2.2 million Keeneland November weanling sale topper as well. Gunrunner was the co-leading sire of 2-year-old Grade 1 winners, including Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner Super Corridoro. Gunrunner, breed true.
Adelphi Racing Club offers the unparalleled excitement of owning thoroughbred racehorses at a fraction of the cost. We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors. We are partners. Our New York-based high-performing equine athletes, trainers, and jockeys compete and win at the highest level circuits. Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference, and let's win races together.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.